Don't cohab male and female bearded dragons. You will constantly have babies. The female will stress out. You do not want that. Do not cohab male and female bearded dragons. Simple. What's up, YouTube? There's been a lot of talk lately about cohabbing bearded dragons, and I just wanted to get to the bottom of it. And, everybody has their own point of views. Everybody has their own opinions. Personally, I've never had an issue with cohabbing. There you go. That's the end of the video. See ya. Hi, this kid. All right. But to be honest, I have been cohabbing bearded dragons since 2011. Never had an issue with cohabbing. Never had an issue with cohabbing. Never. Let me get this in there because some people are going to be like, oh, you can't do that. You can't do that. You're not supposed to do that. They're solitary animals, blah, blah, blah. Never had an issue with cohabbing. Never. How many dragons have I had cohabbed in the last 12 years? I don't even know. Don't even know. In the last 2 years, I'll just talk about the last 2 years because obviously that's more recent for you all, the people that are going to be, complaining about it in the comments, whatever. I don't care. I'm not going to be mad that you're, complaining about it in the comments. I'm going to give you my point of view. You can listen to somebody else's point of view. You can listen to whatever you want. That's fine. Cohabbing. For the last 2 years, I have cohabbed 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. 12 bearded dragons. Those 12 bearded dragons have ate, have slept, have basked, have slept, have basked, have ate, have pooped, have drank. They've done everything they're supposed to do. They've bred, obviously not in the same enclosure. They've bred, they've laid eggs. They've done everything that they're supposed to do while cohabbing. They have never shown any sign of aggression towards each other, not even during eating, not even during basking, nothing like that. If anything, I've had them actually take turns basking. So, whatever, just say what you got to say. Just go down there and just start typing right now, because by the time I get done with this video, I'm not going to care what you're saying. And I hate to be like that because it happens all the time, even when I put them in a kiddie pool. During the summer months, I get a kiddie pool, probably like a 5-foot kiddie pool that's about a foot deep, and I fill it up probably about 1 inch or 2 inches. They go crazy in there. I put all my dragons in there. Obviously, there's a limit because it's only a 5-foot kiddie pool, but I put all my dragons in there up to that limit. Males, females, young, adults, whatever. They all go in that water. They chill out. They just lay there. They drink. They don't even realize that there's other dragons in there. Obviously, they know because they have eyes, but they don't act like they care. So that is how I view cohabbing. If there is a happy medium, if there is nothing worse, obviously don't cohab male and females. Obviously. I'm not saying cohab male and females. Let me go back to the beginning. I'll put this in the beginning as well because I don't want people, you've been talking for 3 minutes. You haven't talked about males and females. Here it is. Moving this to the front. Don't cohab male and female bearded dragons. You will constantly have babies. The female will stress out. You do not want that. Do not cohab male and female bearded dragons. Simple. Point blank. I'm not, discussing that any further. Coming back. All right. Yeah, so here we go. Female bearded dragons. They are the most laid back. They are the most chill bearded dragons. Male bearded dragons tend to be a little bit more hormonal, tend to be a little bit more headstrong. They want to show you their dominance. Female bearded dragons, on the other hand, some of them are the best. Most of them are pretty chill, and some are even, not the greatest. Now, I say that because some females want to show their dominance. The thing about cohabbing is you want to have space for the second dragon in that enclosure. You don't want to just have one enclosure and have 2 dragons in there, and then if something happens, you don't have room for another dragon. That's the problem with cohabbing. People are like, oh, I'm a cohab, and that's it. No, you have to have room for both dragons. You cannot just cohab just because you don't have room. You have to have room for both dragons. Because if something does happen, let's say you're introducing them and you realize, oh, they're not like each other. That's it. You got to separate them. That's why cohabbing has to be done with, supervision, You have to pay attention. You have to really look at the personality of the dragons. You have to really look at the way they're interacting with each other. You have to really look at the way one feels about the other. Here, I'll give you some examples. I don't have any videos of this because I've never had any issues. All right. Actually, I do have one video. Wow. Am I going to be able to find that video? I'll try to find that video, but most likely I will not be able to find that video. I had to cohab 2 females. I didn't have to. I did it just to see how they would, they were probably like 100 grams or so when I put them together. They did fine all the way up till breeding size. Once breeding size came around and they became aware of breeding season, obviously they were already aware of breeding season, but I don't know what happened this season. One of them decided it's time to start breeding. And when I tell you they said it was time to start breeding, they said that about the other female in the enclosure. I found them mounting each other, taking turns mounting each other. In this, I was like, never have I ever seen this before. One female would, do the action, mount, grab the neck, and then, lift the tail up, do that stuff, and stay there for a while. Then I would come back a few hours later, backwards. The other one that was down on the bottom before is on top now. It was ridiculous. It was the most funniest I've ever seen in my life. They did fine all the way up till they were about 300 grams. After that, they started doing that. What did I do? I left them together for a little bit. I bred one of the females to a male. I was like, maybe if I breed one of the females to a male, that'll stop. It did stop it. That was okay after that. Then the female that I bred, she got antsy. She started realizing, well, I need to lay my eggs. And she did not want that other female in there for any reason whatsoever. So I did have to remove one female out of the enclosure. And most of my females are cohab, so I know that they interact well with other females. So what I did is I had room for one in a different enclosure, so I put that one in there. No issues ever again. So those 2 females that I cohabbed after that incident, no issues ever again. The one that had the incident where she, was trying to lay eggs and she didn't want any other females in there, she's in there by herself right now. But now that breeding season's over and they're about to brumate, I'll probably, evaluate my enclosures and see if I need to move another female. That is the way I cohab. I cohab until I see that there's something wrong. If you see there's something wrong, the instant you put them in there together, you got to separate. That's why it's important to have room for another one. Now, that female that I cohabbed again with a different female, I could have just put her in her own enclosure. But that wasn't the point that I was trying to make. I wasn't just trying to put everybody in solitary confinement. I was trying to remove her from a situation, but put her in a different situation that she wouldn't mind. I like cohabbing my females from a very young age because they typically don't have any issues throughout their entire life. You start them young, no issues for their entire life. Don't start them from babies. The problem with babies, and people are going to hate me for saying this because they're going to be like, oh, well, if you cohab, they're going to lose their limbs, they're going to lose their tail, they're going to fight, they're going to eat each other. Man, I can already see it happening. The comment section is going to be popping about this. Baby bearded dragons, does not matter the gender. They are territorial, very territorial. They are eat me or I eat you type of bearded dragons. I do not cohab baby bearded dragons. If they are in the same clutch, I'll keep them together for a while. But once I start noting, like male bearded dragons, once they get to about 3-4 months of age, they will start showing dominance, and it will not be pretty with other male bearded dragons. It will not be pretty with other female bearded dragons. Once they get to that age, I usually try to, just get rid of them as fast as I can, because male bearded dragons take up a lot of space. You have to have one enclosure per bearded dragon. And in some clutches, you could get 10 baby bearded dragons that are males, and if they don't sell, you have to have 10 extra enclosures. So there's that. Now, the problem is, baby bearded dragons, if they get hungry, they'll eat each other. If they are fed regularly, it's not really going to be a problem. But you don't want them to ever think about eating the other one. And it sounds so terrible to say. I have seen bearded dragons eat other bearded dragons. I had a situation earlier this year. Some of you that have been subscribed to me for a while know what happened. A clutch, the first clutch of the entire year, hatched out. I was sick. It was cold. I put them in a baby tub until I, sexed everybody, divided everybody out. I guess that same day I was checking on other bearded dragons, and I left a door open or something, or I don't know, maybe I left it cracked, and he figured out a way to get out. He climbed that baby rack. Don't know why. His instinct was, let me get up higher to see what's down below. He was looking for food, probably. He was like, maybe if I get up high, I can see if there's any insects on the ground or something. That's what he was doing. He climbed this baby rack. He saw babies. He had a buffet of babies. Every single, 23 babies. Every single baby gone but one. She sold shortly after because everybody felt bad for her. It was sad. To be honest, it was very sad that happened. So I have seen bearded dragons eat other bearded dragons. Never do they eat each other if they're the same size. That is another thing about cohabbing. They have to be similar size. Earlier I mentioned that if they're about 100 grams or so, that's when I start cohabbing. If they're about 100 grams or so right now, doesn't mean they're going to be the same size later. I have seen females. Currently I have two females that are living together. I've been watching them very carefully because one female, she got sick, and I had to remove her. She got better. I put her back. Well, now she's about 50 grams, maybe 60 grams less than her tank mate. The tank mate doesn't do anything to her. She's the problem. She came in there saying, well, I'm smaller. I have to really stand my ground. And that's what she's doing. Every time her tank mate comes out to eat, to do whatever, she pushes her back in. So I've been watching. Maybe this is a sickness, stressful to her. So it's only been 2 weeks. So I've been watching. And if it continues any longer, obviously she'll have to go into her own enclosure by herself for the rest of her life. Because it's not something that I'm going to be able to train out of her. That's something that she's just going to do for the rest of her life. She's going to make sure that she's the only thing that can eat, sleep, poop, whatever, bask in that enclosure. So she will probably have to be a solitary animal going forward because she is territorial. She's probably going to be more territorial than the male that I put her with. And that was the other thing. That same female earlier that I said that once she got pregnant, she started, being aggressive to her tank mate. That same female, when I paired her to the male, she mounted the male. I do have a picture of that. Let me see. I'll post one up if I can find it. I do have a picture of it on my Instagram, but I will post it up if I can find it on this video right now. But I put her in there and she said, not me, not going to happen. She mounted that male faster than the male could even say, is that a female? It was crazy. But then after that, I came back and he had mounted her. So he did his job and she gave me babies. So I know it worked. But she is going to be a female that has to be by herself probably for the rest of her life because she is dominant. She is territorial. She likes to be alone. Right now, as I'm making this video, I am staring at two females right there, two females right there, two females right there. All three sets of females, right? These two, one is just sitting there. The other one's chilling over here. These two, one's sleeping on top of the hide. The other one's sleeping on the other side of the hide. They know to give each other space. It's not anything where, oh my God, stay out of my area. No, get out of my enclosure. It's nothing like that. They keep each other. They have their space. They keep each other away. They don't stay away from each other, but they keep a distance enough to where, hey, you come to me, I'm not going to run away, but right now I'm basking. Maybe you go do something else, and then I'll give you a basking spot later. It's almost like they're communicating. It's crazy. I wish that I could, do a time lapse of an entire day with a Cohab bearded dragon. But it would be a very boring video. But, I mean, yeah, it's just, you come in here and you see them. You see one over here and one over here. And then this one's basking, this one's on top of the hide. Then later on, switch. And then sometime later, they both go into the hide and go sleep together. I wish I could explain it better. It's just so much going on, so much interaction, no aggression, no territorial no dominance, nothing like that. And honestly, there's two females right now. One of them is about 300 grams. The other one's about 200 grams. By now, I would have separated them, but they interact so well together because, I don't know, they've been together for a while. The one just grew faster than the other. And they interact well together. Even the bigger one doesn't do the dominant stuff, the territorial stuff to the smaller one. It's almost like, hey, food's over here. They both eat out of the same bowl. Never had any issues. Food, the greens are here. They both eat at the same time. Never had any issues. When the basking time comes, they both bask right next to each other. The basking platform is wide enough for both of them. They do not fight for a basking spot. That does not happen. When they're babies, oh my God, stack, stack, stack. It look like Jenga with babies. They stack each other till there's the bottom one is so smothered, he digs himself out and he tries to get to the top. Doesn't happen with adults. There's actually someone that I've been, ever since I started breeding bearded dragons, I always watch their stuff. I bought dragons from them before. I've always liked their setups. They actually have outdoor setups and fairy tale dragons. If you don't know who they are, go check them out. So Dave Kaufman actually made a video a while back about Heather at Fairy Tales, her setups that are outside. They're incredible. She cohabs her dragons and everything. The problem is people that cohab their dragons don't give them enough, wiggle room, I guess you should say. That one can't hide away and not be seen if for some reason it feels like it needs to, Most people, their enclosures are super crowded. And if I try to hide in a super crowded enclosure, you may think, oh yeah, that works really good. Well, what about basking? If it's super crowded, I probably won't be able to bask at the same time as the other dragon. If it's super crowded, I probably won't be able to find my food as fast as the other bearded dragon. It has to be equal for everybody that's in that area. So the food bowl has to be big enough. The greens plate has to be big enough. The basking spot has to be big enough. The hide has to be big enough. You have multiple dragons in there. They're probably going to try to do things at the exact same time. The only problem with cohabbing that I have ever noticed is the poop. Cleaning up one turd is hard enough. Cleaning up two turds is even harder. Cleaning up 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 turds is incredible. The reason I'm counting like that is because I feel like every time one poops, literally, not even 20 minutes later, the other one poops. If you do not catch both poops within that time frame, you're going to have some dirty bearded dragons because for some reason, they think it's time to get nasty, get dirty. And oh my God, one does it. If you have one, they do it all on their own already. You already know. If you're on all the Facebook groups, oh, my dragon just decided to run through his poop. One bearded dragon. 2 bearded dragons, it's worse. It's smithereens. It's a portrait of poop all over the bottom of the tank. I honestly should put some substrate on the bottom of my tank just to prevent that from happening, but I hate substrate so bad. And people are like, oh, well, if you only do half of it, that's actually not a bad idea. But I don't know. I hate substrate. Why do I hate substrate? Well, I had an incident in the past where a bearded dragon got impacted and it died. That's why I hate substrate. So to prevent that from ever happening again, no substrate ever. Okay, you guys want to see a bearded dragon? I'll show you a bearded dragon. I feel like the entire time I could have talked and showed you bearded dragons, but I didn't because I was heated and I know my hands and stuff like that move, and I don't want to, get a bearded dragon hurt. But I'll show you one that I think is fascinating. Everybody meet Mancha. Mancha is a hypotrans, 66% het wiblets. Paradox. Look at that. Come on, camera. Look at that. So cool. Yeah. Oh my gosh. His head is purple. His head is purple. His back has purple spots on it. His tail has purple all over it. This is the first paradox that I've ever produced in my life. 12 years. Oh man, he looks so good already. But all right. I don't want to keep talking to you all. I really don't. You guys got to get out of here. So with that said, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything that I put out in the future. As always, peace.